Welcome to From Market to Table. I'm Kathy Willis, the scratch baker here at County Market, and to the right of me is Sam McCarty, and he's the manager of the seafood department. Sam's going to start us off with a couple of hors d'oeuvres for the holidays.
Good. So what I got going today, we got a Chipotle shrimp tostada. Real simple to make, real easy, good. You got a party, you know, it's real simple. And then you got your normal holiday shrimp cocktail. I mean, everyone's got shrimp cocktail. You can't beat it, but I'm sure most people would rather make it at home, you know what I mean? And then just instead of buying it pre-made. So we're going to show you a quick and easy recipe. Bang, we'll knock that out real quick. So for both recipes, I need shrimp. We got a 26 to 30 count easy peel shrimp. It's cut down the back. All you got to do is take the shell off. You don't got to devein it. It's already deveined. So, I mean, that's the easiest way to go about it, I think. And it's a good size shrimp.
And you can just get that in the frozen?
In the frozen,
seafood?
in the seafood frozen section. So I got both shrimps in here. I'm going to cook all the shrimp at once for the cocktail and the tostada. So 1 pound of shrimp, that's good for this. I mean, it all depends. About a pound for the tostadas to make you 8 to 10 tostadas, you know. Your shrimp cocktails all depends on how much shrimp you want to eat. So I got these, they're drained off. I'm just going to drop them in here. That's that. We're going to let them sear in here a little bit. I'm going to hit them with a little salt and pepper too. I mean, you can do that before, that's fine. It all depends. I just do a little bit just to taste, you know what I mean? You don't need too much. Just gives it a little color, but we're going to let that simmer. So while these are cooking, we're going to move on to our tostada. Here we go. Now, some grocery stores don't have tostada shells.
Okay.
If you ain't got tostada shells, I just took a flour tortilla and a little cookie cutter. I cut them out and I deep fried them. A couple seconds on each side. The tortilla doesn't take long to deep fry at all.
Yeah, they look nice.
Yeah, and they look
crispy.
good, golden brown, good size. So there's that. Here we got our refried beans with this, just refried beans, and we got 3/4 teaspoon of chili, like Chipotle chili powder. If you really want to spice it up, you can turn the notch up. You can throw some extra chili powder in there if you want. You can season your shrimp with chili powder, Chipotle, anything. You know what I mean? That's all to taste. So that's, and then we got our salsa. Now our salsa, 1 can Hunt's diced tomatoes. Now you want to drain the juice off, or else it's going to be real watery, running all over the place. 3 tablespoons of diced red onion. Again, if you really like onions, whatever, you can add more. I mean, that all depends. And then we got 1 diced avocado. The avocado, you want to make sure you get a ripe avocado. If your avocado's hard, the shell doesn't want to come out, I mean, that's not a very ripe one. It's going to be tough in here.
Yeah.
So that's that. We're going to flip these, cook these up. Oh, man, I love these shrimps. These shrimps get such a good color to them.
Yeah. Now, can you, instead of frying them, can you boil them?
You can boil them, yeah.
For the cocktail? For
the cocktail, I mean, that's how a lot of people do it. If you really want, you don't have to cook your cocktail shrimp. I mean, you can buy a bag of cooked shrimp. That's what a lot of people do, or they buy the shrimp rings. This is just a good recipe. It's easy, fun. And you get a good shrimp out of it. I mean, you can season your shrimp. Because me personally, I'd rather eat a raw shrimp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Than a cooked shrimp. So get all these flipped over. But it's real simple.
Then they're almost ready.
And yeah, a couple more minutes on this side. We're gonna dress up these tostadas. Once these are all flipped. So we're going to let those go for a couple minutes. Now with the tostadas, all we're going to do, we're just going to start out here. Put a little bit of refried beans on each one of those. I mean, you don't have to do too much. I just like, you know, just a little bit, just enough.
Just to hold everything in place.
Right, exactly. So I'll make 4 of these now, and then I'll jump to making our cocktail sauce here. Just a little bit of this, and this looks awesome, the color. Oh man. That's hard to beat right there.
Yeah, nice.
And it's so simple to make.
Holiday salsa.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's so simple to make.
And what else did you put in there besides the tomatoes?
Tomatoes, avocado, and about 3 tablespoons of diced onions.
And that's it?
And that's it.
No just dressing on there?
Or? No dressings, nothing. Just them 3. And it looks good. It's very vibrant and everything.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Right. So while these are finishing up, we're going to turn these down a little bit. They got a couple more seconds, couple minutes.
That's
I'm going to go ahead. We're going to make our cocktail sauce. Now I'd rather have homemade cocktail sauce myself compared to buying it and you know right out of the jug or whatever, however you want to buy it. And it's so simple. This take you 5 minutes. Piece of cake. All right. So we're gonna start. Now this is one batch. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna make a double batch. So for one, you got half cup of ketchup. We're gonna dump this in here. So we're just gonna go ahead and make two because.
Sure.
I mean, you can make however much you want. Maybe. Yeah, so.
All right.
About 1 cup of ketchup in there, add a little more or whatever. All right, and then here's the tricky part. The only real part of this recipe is your horseradish and your ketchup. The rest is just a taste. I mean, you just hit a dash of those other two in there, you're good to go. So it calls for 2 tablespoons of horseradish. Again, we're making a double, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to do about 4.
All right.
It seems like a lot, but if you really like your horseradish,
oh yeah,
can't beat it. All right. And then we got our Tabasco. Again, just a dash of Tabasco. If you want it to be hot, go ahead, pour some Tabasco in there. You know, but we're just going to do, you know, a few drops just to cover the top a little bit, real simple. And the same with the Worcestershire sauce. We're just going to hit it with a few dashes here. I mean, it gives good flavor, so if you, I mean, you can dump it in there. And then the finishing touch, just a little lemon. We're going to take the acidity out of it. I always put my hand over it. We want to cover the seeds. You don't want to be eating seeds with your cocktail sauce.
Yeah.
Well, so we're going to let that in there. And then we're just going to stir it around here. Oh, yeah. And you can't beat the homemade. It's so much better than just out of a jar. I mean,
oh yeah.
Man. So we got that. We're going to take this right here. We're going to feed it into our cup. Yeah.
Nice.
It's got good color. You can see the horseradish. And then we're just going to take our shrimps. We'll go back here. We'll finish topping these off. I mean, these are done. You can tell you got a good color, good pink color. They're nice and seasoned, ready to rock and roll. That's how you know when they're done. When they kind of split open, they got a good pink, red color, good sear, you're good to go. So we're just going to take a couple of these. We'll top off our tostadas. I mean, like I said, you could take a whole flour tortilla if you really wanted to. You don't have to cut them in half.
Sure.
You could load you up a little shrimp tostada pizza if you wanted to, I guess.
Oh, that would work.
Yeah, right. You can do a lot of stuff with that. But we're just going to hit it with, you know, a couple shrimps on each. And it looks awesome. And then for this, here's the trick. These honkies are just going to sit right on there. When you cook them, they curl up real nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bang. I mean, it sits right on there compared to trying to fight with a uncooked shrimp. It's just going to jump right off of there.
Yeah, you're right.
So here we go. We're just going to line these puppies up.
Nice looking shrimp.
Oh yeah, I like the sear. They're hot. They're good. I mean, just a raw shrimp. That's how I like it. And that looks about right there.
Wow.
So there's what we got. We got our shrimp cocktail and our shrimp tostadas, or Chipotle tostadas.
Wow.
They're easy, good, easy. Can't beat it.
Great holiday.
Yeah, yes.
For whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Right.
Well, down that same vein, I'm going to be doing 2 dessert things. One is a Cranberry Orange Nut Bread, and the other one are ginger snap cookies. Now, a lot of people don't like real seasoned. I find that this one is not overly seasoned, so it works out really well. All right, we're going to start with the Cranberry Orange. So actually, while we're thinking about it getting started, what you want to do, to find all my stuff down here, is this will fit in a 9x5 by 3 inch loaf pan. So what we're going to do is grease it up. You can just use the spray, and that works very well. And then what I want to do is I'm going to combine my dry ingredients so we can get all those together. And that's going to take 2 cups of flour, a half a teaspoon of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and a half a teaspoon of baking soda. So let's go ahead and get those out. All right. So get the 2 cups of flour. Now the other thing is, you know, fresh cranberries are just wonderful. They start coming in this time of year, and you can't beat them. You can use them in so many things. You can use them in salads. You can use them in all types of desserts.
Anything you want.
Absolutely. I bet you could make up a great one with.
You could do anything with cranberries.
Yeah, with seafood and cranberries. Boy, I'll tell you. All right, so we have that. Now let's go with our baking powder. And so we'll have 1.5 teaspoons of this. And then the half a teaspoon of baking soda. All right, so then you're not going to have to be looking around for your, you know, dry ingredients to make sure you didn't forget anything. And my half a teaspoon of salt. Just as I said that, I thought, I didn't
don't
put
forget
the salt.
anything.
Don't forget it. So that's my half a teaspoon of salt. All right. So now that's all ready. So one of the things that we want for this cranberry orange nut bread is we want to grate some of the rind off so we get that great flavor within the bread.
That gives it a good zesty flavor, the rind.
Oh,
you
absolutely.
Can't beat it. It's good.
So what we're going to do is just grate some here, and what I need is a tablespoonful. So you can grate all of it or most of it, enough to get that tablespoonful. And the oranges are so good. Just smelling these makes me think holidays already. I know we're pushing it, but they're right around the corner. All right. So that should give us our tablespoon that we want. Now, the other thing that we're going to be using the juice from this orange also. What I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze the juice from the orange here, and then we're going to need we're going to add boiling water to that and 2 tablespoons of Crisco or vegetable shortening to make the liquid that's going in this cranberry bread. Now if you have a you know, something to squeeze with or whatever, thank you. But just squeeze as much as you can, because now what we're going to do is we will add boiling water enough to this orange juice that we're going to make 3/4 of a cup of total liquid. All right, and it's much easier to squeeze in a bigger container than a smaller. So we'll go ahead and add this. We are at 3/4 of a cup. And then I have the Crisco sticks right here, and I'm just going to get 2 tablespoons, and they're marked on the side so you can see one. You see the markings when you're using the sticks. If you have a larger container, just go ahead and use the teaspoon. That's not a problem. So this should all be able to melt in here. My orange wasn't too cold. All right, so and then once I'm going to wait till once this go ahead and melts, then I'm going to add my tablespoon of my orange zest that I had gotten prepared. Because what we're going to do with this is, once we go ahead and cream the the eggs and the sugar, and we're going to start adding the flour mixture and also this mixture of orange mixture that we're doing. So it's almost all melted here. And if you don't like quite as much, you don't have to put quite as much in. Let's see how close we are. Perfect. So we'll go ahead and get that in there. All right, so this will be our other liquid measurement. All right. So our flour measurements together, our liquid measurements ready. So now what we're going to do is get 2 eggs. I'm just going to do it right in here. And mix it with sugar. And we're going to mix this till nice and frothy. And I'm just going to use a standard beater for this instead of taking all the time. Although you can certainly do it by hand, that's not a problem. So you want this to get nice and light and fluffy. Now it's getting that nice and light color. All right, then what we're going to do, as I mentioned, let me get this out of the way, is we're going to add the flour mixture with the orange mixture.
See what, you just do a little at a time, back and forth.
Right, right. And usually, you should end with the flour mixture.
Right, you got a little bit more.
Yep.
Yeah, that seems a little easier using your standard beater if you were trying to do that by hand.
Yeah. I think it comes out and makes a nicer batter.
Yeah, yeah.
The cranberries that we have gotten ready and the nuts were all done ahead of time too, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But at first I thought, oh, maybe this was going to be too liquidy.
Right.
It certainly is not. It works out very well. Like I said, if you have all the ingredients, the dry ingredients together, then you don't have to stop and think about them. Because you know I would forget. All right, and finish off this orange. Well, I can just smell that orange.
The orange is awesome.
And then I'm going to pour in the last of our flour mixture. And then we'll be ready. This goes very quick once you have everything together, so that's maybe a little bit time consuming, but it's actually very worth it. It makes such a nice
right, and it really is
loaf.
simple too. I mean, it's not, it doesn't have too many ingredients and stuff. You get your dry ingredients together. And,
absolutely.
I mean, it's simple.
All right, so now to this batter, and you see how nice the batter actually looks. It's nice, it's not It's not too thick, it's not runny, it works out really, really well. You can see all the bits of orange in there. So now we've taken our cranberry. What we need is a cup of coarsely chopped cranberries. You can certainly do it by hand. One of the easiest ways to do it is in a food processor, just with the blade that you have at the bottom. And go ahead and crumble them all, chop them all up. Now I did this before, and that's what I have left out of my cup. So we're gonna just use it all up. So we'll get these turned in. Now, you can leave it just like this for a cranberry bread if you don't want to add the nuts. But, cranberry and walnuts just go really, really well together. And I add a cup of walnuts. Or if you want to use a half a cup, again, that's certainly up to your taste. We'll just stir those in, and then it's going to go in our pan and ready for the oven. And this is going to bake in a 325-degree oven for about 1 hour. And actually, our oven here is a little hotter than that, and it really only took 45 minutes. So I would probably check it about 50 minutes. And the other thing is, we already greased this pan or sprayed it. Now we'll just go ahead and put the mixture in here. This is a nice thing too to be able to take to somebody's house for a Christmas gift. Once it's done, you can tie a little bow on it, and that can certainly be, and then wrap it in saran, and that would be their present. All right. So there we are, and this is going in the oven for 1 hour. All right. Now the next thing, which is a much easier recipe, is our gingerbread. And like I said, I love gingerbread, but sometimes they're so much seasoning in it that it's a little overpowering. All right, so these ginger snaps are actually going to start with 3/4 of a cup of shortening. Now, shortening, margarine shortening, or also the Crisco. Now, this, there's one stick here, is 1 cup, and we want 3/4 of a cup. And again, these are all marked, so it's an easy process. So we'll just go ahead and cut it where it's, put this back in our little container. So what we're going to do with this, and this certainly, the margarine or the Crisco sticks are very soft, so they're very easy to go ahead and use. And you can see that that's going to mash down right away. And now to this we're going to add the 1 cup of sugar, and we're going to cream this together. And then we're also going to add our 1 egg to this. But this, like I said, a beater would certainly maybe make this faster, but this is just a few things. Yeah, either or. And then what I'm going to do is add 1 egg to it. And you can see how this is actually creaming up real nice. And And it looks the same whether you use it in a stand mixer or with your hand mixer, but you want that nice consistency where there's, you know, all the pale yellow is the same. All right. Now to this, what we're going to do is we're going to add all the dry ingredients. So what we need is 2 cups of flour. Now I'm going to add the first one in here, and then this will be my 2nd cup. And we want 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and then come all of our spices. We want 2 teaspoons, well, 1 to 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, a half a teaspoon of cloves, and 1 teaspoon of ginger. And that will make all of our dry ingredients. So let me go ahead and get the 2 teaspoons of baking soda. And I'm just going to add the spices right to it now. 1 teaspoon of ginger. And you know, you may say, well, that really seems like a lot. You can certainly cut back on it, but it works out very well, and it does not seem like a lot once we're, you know, once we're in it. And then what we're going to do is do our cinnamon. Now we do, again, start with 1 or 2 teaspoons. And I'm a cinnamon lover, and I'll do 2 nice teaspoons. And then the ground cloves. Cloves are, again, is another spice that people either really like or don't.
Yeah, you either like it or you don't like it, that's for sure.
So I go fairly gingerly and do about a half a teaspoon, so it is not overpowering at all. And then one of the other things that we need to go ahead and add to this is a 1/4 cup of light Karo syrup, or light corn syrup. Now you certainly could add honey to this. You could add molasses to this. I think molasses would be overpowering, because actually somebody asked me already this morning, did I put molasses in these cookies, which I certainly did not. So it's the combination that you're going to get with all the spices. So we'll go ahead and start mixing this up. And then all we're going to do once we have this dough is to go ahead and roll it into balls, and then roll the balls into sugar. All right, and we'll start to work our 2nd cup in, and we should be all done here. And again, this would certainly go faster with a hand mixer. But
now, do you like to add the 2nd cup of flour after you've got it mixed in, or could you just put both cups in when you put the first one in?
You could do that, but it's much harder to mix it all.
Right.
And it doesn't seem as even. So this way, if you do it as you're doing it, you're sure it's going to be all...
And yeah, you get the 2nd cup evenly mixed.
Right.
Makes sense.
It's all going to be evenly mixed through. And you can even see the consistency here of what it's going to look like. All right. So this is the end of what we need. And then you can put, actually, once we make the roll these into balls, and you want them about the size of like maybe 1 inch. And once we roll them into balls, we roll that into sugar and put it on a greased cookie sheet. Now, if you have parchment paper, that's fine, and certainly you don't have to spray that or grease that. All right, and you can see this is all coming together nicely. But you want it so it's going to be able to hold up and be able to roll. And it's pretty much all the same color here already. All right. So then what we're just going to do is roll it to about that consistency. Roll it in the sugar, place it on your cookie sheet, and this will bake for 10 to 15 minutes. And you don't want to over bake it. They're going to first, as soon as they come out of the oven, they're going to, they rise in the oven, and as they come out, they sort of fall and crack, which makes them look wonderful. So you all know how to roll these up, but there are a couple of easy ideas. You know, certainly kids would love to help with this one. If they weren't making the balls to put them in, they could roll them in the sugar and place them on the rack or whatever.
Right.
So, all right. So today, that's really what we wanted to cover, a few things for the Christmas holidays. And let me just put mine out so you can see what they look like. There's our ginger snap cookies.
Those look awesome.
Yeah, nice.
Yes, they
and
do.
They stay a nice color. They're not too overly dark. And then the cranberry nut bread. Now, when I first put it in the loaf pan, I was afraid it would rise too much. So I did not put it all in. So I made a small one. And these, you know, 4-inch ones actually make such nice Christmas presents, tied with a little bow around them. And what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and slice a few slices here so you see what the bread actually looks like. And as you're slicing, you know, if there's there were a few whole cranberries in here, but you can see is as they, you know, as you slice it, it slices the berries too, and it holds together very nice. So, this is our holiday assortment of appetizers, certainly, that Sam made that look wonderful, and some of our desserts these for the holidays. I want to thank you, and we'll see you again from market to table.